So you are ready to do the assessment for the mystery of the dying fish. And so this assessment has two parts, but both of them are going to be scored for the same two standards. You notice up here, standard 22, that's the academic standard that you can trace the flow of a pollutant through an ecosystem. And also, this is a quality of work score. And I'm really looking specifically for, did you provide detailed explanations? An explanation is not one word. These boxes expand. You need to really convince me you understood what was going on. So the first part is the who is responsible part. And this part, here's the deal. In the responsibility column, you're going to put a yes or a no. Now, notice I've given you a major step. I wouldn't have done this if we were together in the classroom, but since we're not, I'm telling you Don Montuno is a no. He is not guilty for any of the pollutants he's accused for. So that leaves 8 more suspects after him. 4 of those 8 are going to be yeses. They have some responsibility in the fish kill. 4 will be no's. So your first step is to really think through who's a yes and who's a no. Now, check this out. Don Montuno was actually suspected for 4 things. And so when I say he was suspected for 4 things, in this box, you have to tell why he's innocent, not guilty, of all 4 pollutants. Now, Avery 1 is suspected for 3 things. You have to decide, was she guilty for any of that? If you say yes to even one thing, you put a yes by her, but you have to address all the pollutants she was expected of. Now, it honestly gets a little easier as you go down because you'll notice that as we get down the list, these suspects are not suspected for multiple things. Again, Don Montuno's a no. Then you pick 4 yeses and 4 no's. And of course, you need to go back and look through all of our files that we've been doing on all the pollutants. Now, this next part, the final part, is called Environmental Issues in the News. And so what I have done is I've found 6 articles that are connected somehow to the mystery of the dying fish. And what I want you to do is to read the summaries of these articles, and then you're going to decide who or whom does this connect to most. I'm okay if you pick 2 suspects or 3 that connect. The other thing that you're going to do is explain why you pick that connection. This article connects to so-and-so because. So what I'm going to do for you now is read the summaries out loud. If you are sitting there thinking, I don't need to hear you read them out loud, I'd rather not read with you, I'd rather just read on my own, you can stop and just work. But I did put in here in blue the links to the full articles if you're curious and you want to read more. Okay, so here's our first article. It's from January 27th of 2014. The title is Procter & Gamble touts win-win of cutting phosphates in all laundry soaps. Here's the summary. Procter & Gamble makes 25% of the world's laundry detergent, including Tide. They are committed to eliminating phosphates from all detergents in the next 2 years. Phosphates are added to detergents to soften hard water. The company already stopped using phosphate in detergent sold in the US because there was a public outcry about the algal blooms it was contributing to. Since Procter & Gamble have already eliminated phosphates in detergents sold in the US, this is predicted to have a bigger positive impact in the developing countries around the world. So now it's decision time. What suspect or suspects is this article connected to? And then you're going to explain why you made that connection. So if you want to hear me read the rest of the summaries, you can pause me, work, and then come back. Okay, here is Article 2. Extra chlorine in water concerns Deltona residents. This is from March 29th of 2019, so a little over a year ago. There's the link if you want to read the full thing. Here's the summary though. Deltona is a city in central Florida. It's about 25 miles from Orlando. A water pump at the water treatment plant was not working properly. As a result, too much chlorine was put into the public water supply. Citizens were complaining that the water tasted and smelled bad. Some citizens had burning eyes and irritated skin. The amount of chlorine tested at 4.7. Chlorine is added to public water supplies to kill germs in the water. The acceptable amount of chlorine is 0.2 to 4.0. The problem was quickly fixed after the pumps started flushing the system with water again. Same question, what suspect or suspects does this article relate to? And then explain your reasoning for that connection. Here comes Article 3. The title of Article 3 is Acid Rain Caused by Air Pollution in China May be Causing Fatal Landslides, scientists say. This is from December of 2017. Here's your summary. China is a country with a lot of mountain ranges. It also has a lot of factories and power plants that create air pollution. The air pollution combines with rain to become either nitric or sulfuric acid rain. In 2009, there was a landslide that killed 74 people. Research after the event showed that the acid rain dissolved the calcite mineral in the layer of shale rock. This weakened the rock, leaving only the talc building block in the shale. Talc is a very soft mineral, and it caused the rock to become unstable. So your job now is to decide, who does this connect most to, and why did you make that connection? Okay, Article 4. Experts warn of a dead zone in Chesapeake Bay from pollution. This article is less than a year old, July 7th of 2019. The Chesapeake Bay is a mix of fresh and salt water off the coast of Maryland. It is known for crabs and other shellfish. Many rivers drain into this bay on the way to the Atlantic Ocean. One of those rivers has a dam that is almost 100 years old called the Conowingo Dam. This dam is a hydroelectric power plant. It has almost 100 years of sediment behind it. This sediment has a lot of pollutants attached to it. The problem is there's so much sediment stuck behind the dam, it cannot hold it any longer. Each time it rains hard, some of the sediment goes into the bay. Global warming is increasing severe storms, and there is a concern that all of this sediment may get into the Chesapeake Bay at once. Some of the main pollutants on the sediment are phosphates and nitrates from farms. This would likely cause a major algal bloom and create a large dead zone due to the lack of oxygen in the water. So when you hear this a summary, what does this article connect to? Who does it connect to, I should say? And you can pick more than one and then give your reasoning. Okay, our fifth article has to do with farming. New farming strategies can help prevent soil runoff while maintaining high crop yields. This is from June 30th of 2016, so about 4 years ago now. Soil and nutrient runoff from agricultural fields are a major problem. They cause toxic algal blooms that can create dead zones of no oxygen and pollute public water supplies. It has been known for a long time that planting trees around a field of corn, for example, does a really good job at preventing erosion. The problem with that is the trees block the crops from sunlight, and the tree roots steal the water from the crop. Research has found that the best plan is to plant a 6 to 9 foot buffer crop, that they're called, of native grasses, and then plant the buffer trees around the native grasses to stop erosion. This controls runoff and allows for high crop yield. So what I want you to picture, like a field, and then around it a border of like grasses, and around it then a border of trees with roots, and that seems to do the best job. Okay, so who does this remind you of? And it can be more than one, of course. And why did you make that connection? Okay, our final article. I know you would have been preschoolers when this happened, but I bet you've heard of it. 10 years after the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, oil pollution found in thousands of fish, study says. This article is really current. It's just April 20th of this year. Okay, so here's our summary. It goes like this. I just noticed I need to add an S to my scientists. Okay, here we go. 10 years ago, an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico called the Deepwater Horizon exploded. It spilled millions of gallons of oil for almost 3 months. The company that owned that rig, British Petroleum, and you would know it as BP, like the gas stations, has devoted $500 million, that's $500 million, of research to research the environmental impact of the oil over the last decade. 15,000 fish have been autopsied, and 2,500 sediment cores from the bottom of the Gulf have been analyzed. Scientists have found that some oil sank to the bottom. Toxic chemicals have attached to sediments on the ocean floor. Surprisingly, toxic chemicals from the oil have been found in all the fish studied, all of them, especially building up in the liver, these toxins are. The liver is an organ used to process harmful chemicals. Scientists think fish that live in all water depths are impacted because every time it storms, sediments with oil attached are getting sent back through the water. So who does this remind you of, and why?